Like any work in the world of personal growth, we have patterns that happen in our life. You know, I as an individual that has been doing this work for a number of years, I'll see patterns come in. I might go through 6 months of all relationship clients coming to the doors with all kinds of relationships, and then I'll go through a couple months of a ton of spirituality, and then I'll go through months where it's a lot of addiction recovery. I work with clients that are all wanting to let go of specific addictions that are substances or belief systems or behaviors, whatever it might be. Well, most recently, it's been intimacy. And I want to share just what I think is something crucially important for us all to be aware of around what real intimacy is. Hi, I'm David Essel. When most of us think of intimacy, we think of holding hands, and we think of a partner, and we think of sexuality, and we think of all these different things that have to do with intimacy. And intimacy in a love relationship, that's part of it, absolutely. But I want to go through this because in the last couple life coach certifications that we've done, we've had several clients that, well, people that want to be life coaches that are in the courses, when we looked at what their one thing was that was holding them back, that one thing happened to be intimacy. And when we look at intimacy, of course, when the opposite of intimacy, which we're going to talk about in openness, is being closed. And so when I asked them to describe what intimacy meant to them, they all came up with the same thing, and it was what I opened this video with. You know, intimacy is being intimate with our partner, and it's kissing and holding hands and making love. And I said, well, where's your fear of intimacy with that? And they go, well, it's not that part of it. And I said, I know. So what's real intimacy then? What is the real thing we're afraid of? And the real thing of intimacy is vulnerability, it's openness, it's the fear of rejection, and it's the craving for acceptance. Okay? Vulnerability, openness, fear of rejection, craving for acceptance. So if we look at real intimacy and we put it in this nutshell, all of a sudden, oh my Lord, it has a totally different feel to it, doesn't it? And as I went further with these students in the courses, and I went further and pushed and pushed and pushed, you know, what would real intimacy look like? We eventually came up with this. Real intimacy is the ability to stay in relationship with your partner when things are not going well without running, shutting down, or giving advice. Isn't that incredible? So real intimacy, yes, a part of it is the making love and holding hands and all that kind of stuff. But the real part of it, the real nuts and bolts of intimacy, is being in a relationship with someone when things are not going well and we choose not to shut down, we choose not to run, we choose not to blame. In other words, we were willing to sit in the discomfort of the relationship that is not working. We may be willing to sit with our partner who's having a really tough time with a health issue, maybe a depression issue, an addiction, maybe they're having a struggle with finances or whatever. And real intimacy would be to sit with them in their pain. When I work with parents and children, one of the things I teach parents how to do is to sit with their children's pain without giving advice. In other words, you know, their son or their daughter comes home from school and they've just lost their best friend, or they've been broken up, they were dating someone and that person broke up with them, or they didn't make a sports team, or they didn't make the band at school, or something didn't go their way. And instead of saying things like, oh honey, everything's going to be okay, he wasn't the best for you, things always work out, you just have to trust me, mommy and daddy knows things always work out. That's a bunch of crap. Okay? It's a bunch of nonsense. Things don't always work out. That's not true. And the other thing is that when we're giving our answers and we're trying to squash someone's emotions, because that's what we do when we give answers, is that they understand one thing: we're not listening. Because they don't necessarily need our answers. Real intimacy would be to hold our partner when they're in pain, would be to hold our child. Let them talk, let them cry, let them do what it is. But you know what happens, ladies and gentlemen, is that because we're so afraid to feel our child's pain, our partner's pain, that we shut down, we run away, we use substances, we give advice, we do anything other than to let that pain sit there. And that's tough stuff. What I'm talking about, this real intimacy is not easy. And it's not supposed to be, because when we can go through what I'm sharing here on this video, when we can actually do this, we blow the doors off of what vulnerability, openness, and real intimacy looks like. When you can sit with your partner when they're going through something tough and not give them advice to pull them out of it, you might cry with them. You might cry with your child, for God's sake, and that's okay. Real intimacy is not running, not shutting down, not giving advice. Real intimacy is being vulnerable enough to sit with your partner or your child or your best friend and allow them to have their pain without saying a word. Isn't that powerful? Touch is so amazing. You know, like you can say words with touch. You can say thousands of words with touch. I want to ask you to think about this. And if I can help you, we've been working with individuals and couples and families for over 20 years, teaching these keys to intimacy. It's not easy, and it goes against the grain. You know, the way most of us were raised is we're raised to give advice. Everything's going to be okay. Remember when this happened before? Everything works out. It always works out. You know, have faith, trust. We say all this kind of crap, and what we're doing is we're shutting down our partner or our child. We're saying, I don't want to feel your pain. I don't want to feel your discomfort. Get it out of here. Instead, we're going to allow it to come. Let me know if I can help you. TalkDavid.com is how to get a hold of me. TalkDavid.com. And share this video. Oh my Lord, share it. You know, let people know what real intimacy is. And then don't forget also to sign up right here on Super Slowdown at YouTube so every new video goes right to your account here, okay? Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.